Welcome to the Coffee Break Career Series. My name is Jeremy Hyman, and I'm the Science and Technology Success Specialist at NCC's Center for Career Development. Thanks so much for joining us today. Sit back, relax, grab a coffee or other beverage if you'd like, and let's dive into building your online image. We're going to start out today with an introduction, and we're going to be talking about LinkedIn, which is the premier professional social networking site for the first half or so of our time together. But I want to point out that you can and should use much of what we're discussing with LinkedIn across other social media and networking platforms as well, including Handshake, which we'll touch upon later, and perhaps others as well. So first, in terms of introducing yourself, the three key pieces to emphasize here in terms of your introductions. One, a professional headshot photo. I think this is hopefully relatively self-explanatory. So in terms of that headshot photo, first of all, you should have a photo. It's been shown by LinkedIn's own research that recruiters and employers are much more likely to click on a person's profile and find you if you do have a profile photo. That photo should include your head and shoulders, and you should be wearing some sort of professional clothing. And then moving along, we have your headline. So your headline is like the hook in an essay. It's your attention grabber. It's your so what. So you want to think about your audience, think about your industry, and very briefly, this is basically the length of a tweet or less, 120 characters. You want to describe very succinctly who you are, what excites you, and what you aspire to do in the future, and be descriptive. There are a few possible formulas that I've given here. If you want to find more formulas, you can actually Google LinkedIn headline formulas, and there's actually several of them that you could take a look at. A couple of those that are shown here include just having a brief sentence about yourself, such as I help blank, the type of company, organization, or industry to blank, or another one being starting out with your role or job title or the job title you aspire to, specializing in, and then giving 2 or 3 examples of the types of tasks or activities or areas in which you'd be specializing. Another even more concise version, without having a complete sentence even, would be starting out with the name of your role or the role you're aspiring to, and or your industry name, followed by a vertical line, followed by a specific and, if possible, quantifiable achievement, if there's one that you can already point to demonstrating your success in the field. So moving on from the headline, which is the hook, so to speak, we now move ahead to the summary or about section. So this is similar to the introductory paragraph similar to a powerful body paragraph from a cover letter. It's your introductory paragraph of who you are. So you want to think once again about your audience, about the field that you're entering or trying to enter or move up in, and think about what they're looking for and what kinds of keywords might grab their attention that relate to your area of expertise and passion. You want to think about your key qualifications and goals. You want to highlight your experience so far. Think about what drives you, your core skills. Think and write about what you're doing now and where are you headed in the future. You can think of these pieces of your introduction, so to speak, this headline and summary, and really most of your LinkedIn, as an opportunity to provide an expanded or extended resume to potential employers and recruiters. And so you want to really grab their attention and sustain their attention so that they're going to want to learn more about you. As such, while you may have a complete paragraph or even 2 short paragraphs in your summary and about section, you want to ensure that you're really keeping the most relevant and pertinent information towards the very top. So moving right along to other key parts of what would be a resume or expanded resume, describing your education. So this is pretty straightforward, I think. You're going to list Northampton Community College, NCC, and any other colleges that you've attended and your major. You're going to include key courses that you've taken that are most connected to your goals and interests and the positions you're trying to land. In terms of how many, you might want to list, 4, 5, 6, 7 key courses, depending on how far along you are in the field. Also, think about, do you have a high GPA, a 3.5 or higher? Have you been part of any summer programs, study abroad? Have you earned any licenses or certifications? Are you part of the honors program? Are you the recipient of a particular scholarship? If you've answered yes to any of these questions, show all of those things off here. You may be a reserved and or shy and or very humble person, but this is really a space where you really do need to shine and share and be open about what you've achieved and accomplished educationally. Beyond this, think about any honors or awards that you've received from school, from clubs or other extracurricular activities at NCC or other educational institutions, or honors or awards from beyond school. And be sure to add those in as well. Additionally, there's a skills section. So the honors and awards and skills are not part of the education section per se of the profile, but we're including them here because they're all part of your education itself. So you're going to want to list at least four or five core skills in your field or beyond, and others can actually endorse you for them. Another thing I'd like to highlight on the education section would be that this is also an opportunity for you to leverage your educational network and join groups or networks that are relevant to your education on LinkedIn and or on other platforms as well, which we'll get to a little later. So for example, NCC has its own overall college-wide page. Also, our career office has the NCC Career Network page, so another great opportunity to connect. Moving along, we're going to talk about highlighting your experiences. So I like to preface this by saying that you probably have a lot more experience than you may realize. Think far and think wide. So the first thing everyone thinks about is work experience. Some of you may have a lot of work experience, some of you may have minimal work experience. Many of you may not yet have a lot of experience in your field, some of you may have some. It's important to include and emphasize the work experience that you have, even if it's not directly related to your major or goals. It can show commitment, responsibility, and core work skills and career readiness skills that employers want to see across fields. And remember, so many jobs today are not necessarily about just the specific major that you have. There are a lot of bigger picture skills that employers want to see. And they very well may see that from your work experience. In terms of what else to highlight in this section, throughout the experience parts of your profile, you want to be extensive, but you also want to be concise. You don't want to write entire paragraphs after a particular experience. Similar to a resume, you want to be using bullet points and being concise. So beyond work experience, you want to also highlight your volunteer and community service experience, highlight leadership experience, whether that's from a club, whether that's from an outside organization, a civic service organization, a volunteer organization, a religious organization, etc. Leadership experience at a job. You want to highlight projects that you've completed, major projects that are related to your goals and interests from classes, clubs, other extracurriculars, or just independent projects that you've been working on yourself or with friends that relate to your career goals. If you speak more than one language, definitely include that. Being bilingual or multilingual is a huge asset in all fields and in society in general, and it's so important to include things like that as well. Finally, there's an opportunity to add highlights within the featured section of your profile. This can be a great opportunity to highlight a particular project or particular accomplishment or achievement or article or other piece of your experience for all to see it towards the top of your profile. Additionally, just as we discussed thinking about your networks in the education section, so too with experience, think about the places you've worked, the organizations you've been affiliated with. See if, do a quick search and see if they have their own LinkedIn groups. If so, you may want to join those as well. Next, we're going to move from talking mostly about LinkedIn and pivot over to Handshake. We want to talk about strengthening your Handshake. If you don't yet have a Handshake profile, then you definitely want to go to northampton.joinhandshake.com. Again, that's northampton.joinhandshake.com. You can think of Handshake as kind of a mix of LinkedIn, Indeed, and Monster.com. It's really some of the best features of all three of those sites, all bundled together to offer the most powerful job and internship searches available and possible to you as college students and or as recent alumni. You can use it to search for jobs and internships. You can also, well, by having a complete profile, also help employers to search for you. New employers are joining posting positions and looking for students all the time, every day, in fact. And you can take advice from some of the earlier slides of this presentation in completing your profile, because that, as we had suggested, it's a very similar profile in many ways to that of LinkedIn. But you're going to start out at the very least with 3 things. At least when you first create your account, complete the job types you're looking for, the locations you're looking for, hopefully at least 2 or 3 locations that you'll consider, and job titles or job roles that you're looking for. Handshake's own research suggests that 80% of students who at least share this basic information are contacted by a recruiter. Beyond the basics of these profiles, it's important to keep up to date and to have complete profiles. Completing your profile will really bear dividends for you. Complete LinkedIn profiles are 40 times more likely to hear from employers and recruiters than those with incomplete profiles. It's important to spend some time adding to your profile and just, spend some time exploring LinkedIn's features. Set aside some time and explore. We also really strongly recommend that you check Handshake and LinkedIn frequently for new job and internship opportunities, events, job and internship fairs, and more. Keep your profiles updated each semester. In fact, this will also make it easier for you to update your resume. Or conversely, if you're updating your resume frequently, it should be pretty easy to stay updated with your LinkedIn and Handshake profiles. Finally, get yourself out there. Now that you've been equipped with all of these tools through our session today, you want to think about how you're engaging in networking with potential employers, with friends, with colleagues, with family, friends, etc. Before we get there, though, it is important to also discuss the importance of monitoring your online presence. You want to know what's out there about you, on the internet. It's important, at least, let's say today or tomorrow, and maybe you want to do this periodically. Google yourself. See what comes up in the search results. Check your security settings on other social media, Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, etc., and be cognizant of your posts and your group affiliations. Now that we've discussed monitoring your presence, let's get back to getting yourself out there. So what do we mean by that? We mean share your work. This might mean, if you're in an art and design field, sharing parts of your portfolio. In certain other fields, this might mean sharing an important paper or article that you've written, or sharing other pieces of work or program you've written, etc. Share relevant status updates. On LinkedIn, similar on other social media sites, you can share status updates, but rather than sharing, let's say, just random personal updates like we often do on other social media, on LinkedIn, you can share relevant updates about what you're working on, what you're reading, what's exciting you in your field, etc. You can share articles, projects, highlights. Also, join relevant groups like we were talking about before. And beyond just joining these groups, post in them when you see opportunities to contribute. This can be a great way to network, for you to meet others and for them to learn about you as well. Also, ask for recommendations and also give recommendations. This is another great feature on LinkedIn that helps it to be a really enriched and further expanded version of what a resume offers, is that you can really have people who you know, mentors, supervisors, professors, even peers, can give you recommendations, so that even before someone's going through your application, they see, oh wow, this is someone who has been vetted by persons X, Y, and Z. Furthermore, connect with people that you know and trust. Post informative and encouraging comments. You may find other interesting people through them and through the groups that you join. Finally, request informational interviews and ask for job search advice from NCC alumni in your field, family, friends, and others in your field as well. You could even request a job shadowing opportunity. Never underestimate the power of what I call a warm cold call. You may need to reach out to multiple people, just as you may need to apply to many, many jobs, but there are people out there who are interested in helping you to build your future, especially thinking about our own alumni base here at NCC. Additionally, on LinkedIn, check out your dashboard to see who's viewing you. And you can also use these tools, namely LinkedIn, to do your research on organizations and people who are related to the jobs that you're applying for or places you'd like to work. So after all of this, take a deep breath. And now that you're back, are you looking for more? Well, certainly join our groups on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on LinkedIn, like we discussed. If you want more information about LinkedIn, check out LinkedIn University for Students and reach out to us as it's shown on the screen. We are here and available to speak and meet with you by video call, by phone, etc. Have a great day.